So let's write down the title first. Polynomials of the form ax squared plus bx plus c. And I'll put this in brackets, right? Where it is possible to write in a is equal to 1 form. Therefore, the trinomial will look like x squared plus bx plus c. We close the bracket. So this is just my little note there for you. So what we did so far was, I'm giving an example. If you have x plus 3 times x plus 4, right? What we would have done so far is we would have multiplied across and then simplified, right? We would have gone x times x is x squared, x times 4 is 4x, and 3 times x is 3x, 3 times 4 is 12, right? And then we would have combined like terms. You end up with x squared is equal to 7x plus 12. Expand and simplify. That's what we did so far, right? Now we will explore going backwards. This is called factoring. Okay? So in a sense, it would be if you start off with the trinomial I just gave you up top, right? How would you be able to come up with those two brackets that we started off with earlier, right? How would you come up with these two just by looking at this trinomial, okay? And the answer is, first of all, we know that the variable involved is x, so we can conclude that both of these have to have an x in them, okay? And you just leave it at that, okay? Then you will say that we need to find two factors of C that have a sum of B. Okay? You're going to find two factors of C that add up to B. That's basically what you need to do to come up with these two numbers that go in here. Okay? We know it's already 3 and 4. We know that. But you take C. So in a nutshell, how about I use a pen here? A is equal to 1, right? This is 1 here. B is equal to 7, positive 7. and c is equal to 12. Just by looking at this trinomial, when we talk about a, b, and c, we're looking at the coefficient of x squared. B is called the coefficient in front of x. And these letters could vary. It could be M, N, P, Q, it doesn't matter. C is always your constant at the back. So that's the one that we want to find the factors for. So you look at 12, positive, and you try to come up with two numbers that multiply to it, which could be 3 and 4, right? It could be 2 and 6. It could be 1 and 12, right? But the only two numbers that add up to b, right, that add up to b would be these two here. 3 plus 4 is equal to 7, and this is b, right? So check, like that's the one. This is the one that's going to make it happen. These two factors are going to make that happen, are going to satisfy that condition. And so both of them being positive, that is, right? You go over here and you say, hey, that's going to be plus 3 and plus 4. And you've now factored this trinomial. It's called a polynomial in general. It is a trinomial specifically. And we've been able to factor it into two binomials that make it, right? If you were to expand and simplify, you would get back to it. This is called factoring. Okay. So this is how you check. This is a quick check, right? Double smiley face, right? I will say this. Use double smiley face to check. Okay, this is just what I use to check. What is a double smiley face, you may ask? This is what double smiley face is. You go like this, right? And you go like this. See the double smiley face there? Let's do a quick check. 3 times x is 3x positive, right? X times 4 is 4x. 3x and 4x are both positive, adds up to 7x. And this is the middle term. Right? So now you have checked and made sure that at least the middle term, which is the most important one, is going to work out if you factored it this way. And it's easy, right? The 3 times 4 is 12. That's easy to check. X times x is x squared. That is easy to check. But it's the middle term that you always want to make sure you get it right. Okay. Let's try another one. So this is A. We're going to do a couple more examples. It is important to note, okay, I will add this to the notes. Remember, we still try to factor out common factors like we did in 3.3. Okay, this is still happening, like what we did just now. We still do that, and when after doing that you still left with a trinomial like this, that's when we try to factor it into the two binomials that would make that up. So for instance, if I give you this, negative 2x squared plus 5x, no, sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself here. Negative 2x squared minus 10x minus 12, right? So let's say you get something like this. notice that we can take out a negative two, right? Always take out a negative before factoring. It's very important. So if you have that negative in front, so if there's a negative, no matter what, you're going to take it out. In this case, I noticed that all of these actually are even, so I can take out a negative 2 from this whole thing. So you say that the next line is negative 2, and then you end up with x squared. Negative 10 divided by negative 2 is positive 5. X, that just tags along. Negative 12 divided by negative 2 is positive 6. So this still happens. What you just learned, that happens, and now you're left with a trinomial, right? Just like I told you. And A happens to be 1 here, okay? So I'll just tell you that. In this bracket, A is equal to 1, B is equal to 5, and C is equal to 6. Okay. And how do you factor? Well, you're going to know that it's negative 2. You took that out. That's part of the original, because remember, you can't just get rid of stuff, right? Negative 2 comes with you. And then we know that this trinomial, most likely, we're going to be able to factor that. And the variable in place is x. So you're kind of going backwards. On the side here, you're interested in 6 because that is C, right? This is C. C is equal to 6. What are two factors of it that would give you 5, right? So you're thinking 1 and 6, 2 and 3, and so forth, right? The only two that add up would be these two here. 2 plus 3 is equal to 5, and that is B. So these two satisfy that condition, and it's only these two that will work. And since C is positive, right, positive 2 times positive 3 gives you 6. If you add them up, you get positive 5, which is what you want. So it doesn't really matter where you put the 2 or the 3, right? You go plus 2 and plus 3, or you can go plus 3 and plus 2. It doesn't matter, okay? You always want to do the double smiley face check. That's 2x, and this is 3x. That adds up to 5x, which is what you want, right? In here, you end up with 5x. So you're good, you're happy with that, okay? You don't need to write this down every time on paper, but just do that check in your head, right? Like you go inside smiley face, outside smiley face, because when that's what you get when you combine like terms, you get the 5x, and that's quickly a quick move to check and see and make sure you're right, okay? Let's try a couple more. Hold on, I'm gonna wait. Folks at home, you're writing it down. Make sure you write that down. And as you're writing, I'm gonna talk a bit more, right? Sometimes it's not gonna look like A is equal to 1 at first glance, right? So you always are looking for how can I make that happen? Oh, wait a minute. The negative needs to come out for sure. The 2, does that work? Yeah, they're all even. So you actually try to take out whatever is in front of x squared to make sure is A is equal to 1. And when you're factoring, you're kind of forgetting about this outside coefficient for a bit, right? But it should always follow you. Don't just drop it, okay? and that would work out for you. Couple more here. Let's change up the signs a little bit. C, I have x squared minus x minus 12. And I will make a note here, right? Note, this is what I'm thinking here. A is equal to 1, right? No need to take out a common factor. Okay. So we can actually move, if I ask you to factor, you can move straight to this step where you go, I know I'm going to have two brackets here. X is the variable involved, so I'm going to go x and x. And that's it. And then you need to resort to C is equal to negative 12, right? So you write down negative 12. And this should bring back that game, that puzzle that I made you do. Okay? This is the C. And what are two numbers that multiply and give you this and would add up to, right? This is C. What do they need to add up to, those two factors? They need to add up to negative 1, right? And you know what? You're still somewhat fresh at this. So I'm going to just make a note. A is equal to 1, right? B is equal to negative 1. C is equal to negative 12, okay? And after today's lesson, you sit down and you practice this over and over, okay? There are a lot of nuances with the signs that are going to give you some grief, okay? When C is negative, right? And you're trying to come up with the two factors that make it up, you know that they're going to have opposite signs, correct? And so there are now more options, and you'll see what I mean. So let's say you're going to go with 2 and 6, right? So you try negative 2, positive 6, right? What do these two add up to? Well, negative 2 plus 6 is 4. Positive 4, that one fails, right? I need a negative 1. Okay, then you try 4 and 3. 4 and 3. Let's try negative 4 and positive 3 because they need to have opposite signs to give me negative 12. If you add these up, you get negative 1. And that's exactly what you want. You could have tried 4 and negative 3, but then you would have had a sum of, let's try that here. Let's put it down just so you see it. That still gives you negative 12 when you multiply it. 4 minus 3 is 1, positive. This one also fails that test, doesn't work. It's only these two that work. So make sure you follow, right? Negative 4, the 4 has to be negative, and the 3 has to be positive. Okay, that's the only way. There's only one way to factor a trinomial. There isn't more than one way. There's only one correct way of doing it. Does it matter, Mr. Dirksen, if I had put the plus 3 in here and the negative 4 there? It doesn't matter. It does not matter. Okay? So if you're flipping this for whatever reason, not a big deal. Double smiley face test. This gives me negative 4. This gives me positive 3. Sorry, this is x, right? X and x. And when you add them up, you get negative x, right? Which is perfect. That's what you want. You want a negative x in the middle. So this works out. That's just a quick test. I should still tell you that you should test the ends, right? Negative 4 and 3 gives you negative 12. That checks out. X times x gives me x squared. That checks out as well. Okay? So that's how you factor, folks. That's how you do it. Let's try another one. I will what about something like that? So once you have written this down, okay, I want you to go through these motions, these thoughts, okay? All right, it looks like a trinomial. It's asking me to factor it. So I have a good feeling that it's going to be bracket, bracket, right? The two binomials. Before you do that, because that's the first temptation you'll have to just jump to it, step back and see first, can I take out something common, like something that they all have in common? Look at numbers first, then look at variable next. You know how you've been taking out x's, r's, q's. See if you can do that first before you jump in, right? So the temptation is to jump right into the binomials, like the two brackets, but don't do that, okay? There's a 3 in front of x squared. We don't like that. We will try to take it out if possible. It won't always be possible. You'll see tomorrow. So the 3 is there, and I notice that all of these coefficients and constants, they all have the 3 in common. So take out common factor first, right? So that would be a 3. So we will say, hey, the first order of business is we're going to rewrite this, and we're going to take out the 3 like that, and we're left with x squared minus 5x plus 6. Don't mess up the signs, okay? Now, that inside here, it won't always be factorable. It won't always be. So before I do the bracket thingy, that's not very teacher-like, right? Shouldn't be using that, Mr. Dirks. 6 is, I'm going to check first if it's even possible. So I need a multiple, right? If I multiply, I get 6. If I add them up, I get negative 5. So I'm already thinking, because 6 is positive, both of them are going to have the same sign, right? And so I'm going to try here 2 and 3, 2 and 3 again. I'm going to try that. If they were both positive and I added them up, I would get positive 5. Right? Doesn't work. What about if they're both negative? If I add that up, I get negative 5. Good. That's what I need. Because B, not up here, but here, and the one where you took out the common factor is negative 5. So you can factor this thing. So we're going to say, hey, 3x, my first one is negative 2. My second one is negative 3. And I'm using x a lot now, but I'm going to switch that up, and it's going to be m, n, you name it. Okay. And do the, I'm not going to write it down now, but let's do the smiley face check. Negative 2x, negative 3x, right? That would give me negative 5, so it's good. Okay. You can gladly do the smiley face. I will not take marks off, but that's how I check, and it's a quick way of doing that. Okay. So let's try another one. E is All right. It looks like a trinomial. Can I take out common factors? Well, first of all, Mr. Dirksen told me if there's a negative, I'm taking that out. So for sure, negative comes out. They all have a common factor of 4, right? Exactly. Like let's say, right, only you could only take out a 2, right? That's fine. But we can take out a 4. Negative 4 divided by negative 4 is positive, so it's just x squared. Negative 4 divided by negative 4 is positive 1, so it's just plus x. 48 divided by negative 4 is negative 12, right? So that's what you're factoring now. So take out a negative 12, and I need, right, the sum to be negative 4. So we come up with, so I'm thinking, 4 times 3, I'm going to do it the long way. Because this is a negative, they're going to have opposite signs, correct? I'll do that. And I'll just make a note here. Factors will have opposite signs. Guaranteed. Okay? If this is negative, if C is negative, they're going to have opposite signs. So you're going to have to subtract between them. So if I do negative 4 and positive 3, if I add it up, I get a negative 1. That doesn't work for me. If I make the negative 3, if I make the 3 negative, I add it up, I get 1. That doesn't work for me. So 2 and 6, right? I'm going to try 2 and 6. If I make the 2 negative, if I add it up, I get positive 4. That doesn't work either. So I'm going to try 2 and negative 6. That's negative 4, right? If I add it up, that works for me. Okay, so I'm kind of going the long way. I know a lot of you are going to go right away to the correct answer, but I want you to see what it could look like, right? And don't underestimate the power of 1 times 12. Sometimes 1 times 12 is a good one. It depends on what you need, right? So this works. So I'm going to go negative 4, and then it's going to be x plus 2, because the 2 has to be positive, and the other one is going to be negative. I'm going to do a quick check. 2x, negative 6x. If I add those up, I get negative 4x, which is, wait. Sorry, guys. Is it Friday yet? Oh, boy. Okay. It's supposed to be only x, right, guys? So it's a good moment. It's a good learning moment. Sorry, guys. They were all, I could see it in their eyes that something was wrong. Mr. Dirksen, B here is 1, right? Yes. So which one gave me positive 1? This guy here. This is the right one. This is the wrong one. So I'm going to erase this. And it's on the video, and I won't edit that out because I think students enjoy me making mistakes every once in a while. Okay, so negative 3 and 4 is 1. I think it's a great way to show you got to be very careful, right? So we got to redo this. Undo, right? Control Z. 4. There we go. That's more like it. And when did I notice that? When did I notice that I made a mistake? When I did the double smiley face, right? I was like, wait a minute, I'm supposed to have x, right? So negative 3x, positive 4x, that gives me x. Good. Don't go back to the original because it's not anymore. You're factoring this trinomial in here. Okay? I apologize, folks. It happens. From time to time, I'll do that. Not on purpose. Okay? So here, I take out the negative because Mr. Dirksen told me so, right? X squared, and it just changes the sign of everything inside. Okay? I'm going to try it here, negative 30. I know this is negative, so my factors will have opposite signs. And I need to get, watch this folks, not a positive 7. I need to get a negative 7 out of it because I'm working with this. Okay? So 215 probably wouldn't work. 6 times 5, that won't work, right? What else have we got? So you try, right? 215. Either one is negative, it won't work, right? You try 6 times 5. There's no way, even if one of them has to be negative, it's just not going to work, right? We can try different scenarios here. This gives you 13. This gives you 1. And it's just not giving you that negative 7 that you want, right? And so what would work here? Maybe it's not factorable. Is it possible? Try my notes here. 3 and 10. Oh yeah, 3 and 10 would work, right? So 3 and 10. I need to get a positive, negative 7 out of it. So I need to make this negative, because when I go 3 minus 10, that gives me negative 7. And that's what I need, okay? So it's this combo that works, only this one, right? So it's x plus 3, and it's x minus 10. And the negative stays here. And so this will be 3x and negative 10x, which gives you negative 7x, okay? So there it is. One more. 8 plus 2x minus x squared. And here we will say written backwards. Right, written backwards, rewrite. So all we're going to do is rewrite it as negative x squared plus 2x plus 8. Take out negative. So we're going to do that, negative. And we have x squared minus 2x minus 8. And now we're going to factor. Negative 8. 2 and, so you know they're going to have opposite signs for it to work. So 2 and 4. If I have 2 and 4, that works. I can see that. And I'm going to try here, right? So 2 minus 4 is negative 2, which is what you need. You want b to be negative 2. And in this, just make sure that the sign follows, right? So it's negative here. Don't forget about it. X plus 2, x minus 4, like that. Homework 166, question 10, 11, 14, 15, and 21. Let me just give it a quick peek here. Yeah. So they just they always ask you to check by expanding, and what they mean is just multiply it out and expand and simplify. But you can use the double smiley face method to check. Okay. One more thing. submit your AC, right? And other than that, have a good one, guys. I'll see you tomorrow.